Picture a drink that fizzes with energy. It offers a creamy head of foam and a scent that blends sweetness with hints of spice. This beverage has puzzled many who encounter it for the first time. What exactly makes up root beer? Why does it carry the name beer when it usually holds no trace of alcohol at all? If you imagine it served in a chilled mug at a local bar, that image captures part of its appeal. Yet it misses other key elements. Root beer stands as a fascinating invention. It weaves together elements of North American heritage, natural health practices, and smart product positioning. All these come together in a delightful, scented, and sparkling refreshment. Get ready as we delve into the core of what shapes root beer. We will uncover its story from ancient beginnings to current forms. Along the way, we explore why this non-alcoholic sip earned its boozy title and how it evolved amid controversies and cultural shifts. This journey reveals a tale rich in tradition and innovation, one that highlights how a simple drink can hold layers of history. Join us in examining the enigma of root beer, a beverage that defies easy categories and continues to intrigue palates around the world. At its heart, root beer serves as a non-alcoholic carbonated drink. It draws from a blend of natural elements such as roots, barks, herbs, and spices. The taste stands out with a mix of sweetness and grounding notes. Think of layers that include vanilla, wintergreen, and licorice flavors. Variations across recipes can bring in touches of cinnamon, nutmeg, anise, or clove. Many people pair it with ice cream to create a creamy float that enhances its frothy appeal. Yet modern store-bought options often skip real plant materials. Instead, producers rely on synthetic flavors and sugars to mimic the classic profile. This shift keeps the drink consistent and accessible. Still, the core identity holds firm as a deep-colored soda with a balanced spice edge. It sets itself apart from other options on shelves. Now, consider the beginnings of this unique refreshment. Root beer traces back to health-focused practices in a very real way. Long before it turned into a popular soda, it functioned as a home-brewed natural aid. Indigenous groups in North America turned to specific plants for their believed benefits. They incorporated items like sassafras and sarsaparilla into mixtures. These elements were thought to support well-being and address various ailments. European arrivals observed and integrated these approaches. They started crafting their versions, often as strengthening infusions or mild teas. While fermented drinks have roots stretching back over 7,000 years in various cultures, the path to root beer took shape more recently in North America. Ancient brews from around the world, like those in early China made from rice and fruit, show how people have long experimented with natural fermentation. However, the herbal combinations that led to root beer emerged from local traditions here. By the 18th and 19th centuries, these evolved into lightly fermented options known as small beers. This term covered a range of simple homemade concoctions. They might use herbs, tree barks, or even basic staples like bread and molasses. The goal was not festivity or strong effects. These drinks provided a reliable choice over risky, untreated water sources. In growing settlements, clean hydration posed real challenges. Small beers offered a safer path with minimal alcohol content. One standout version featured sassafras root for its bold character. This set the stage for what would become root beer. During this period, communities promoted such beverages in creative ways. In Cincinnati, for instance, mid-19th century efforts highlighted root beer as more than a thirst quencher. Local advocates position it as a remedy for health issues and even a tool against social problems like violent crime. They argued that encouraging non-intoxicating alternatives could reduce alcohol-related troubles in a bustling city. This tied into broader movements for moderation and community improvement. Brews like these gained traction in households and small operations. They reflected a blend of inherited knowledge and practical needs. Diving deeper into one key element reveals a major turning point. The Sassafras controversy centers on a pivotal regulatory move in the 1960s. The United States Food and Drug Administration issued a ban on saffrole, a compound found in sassafras root bark. This substance had given early root beer its signature scent and taste. Studies at the time, mainly on lab animals, linked Saffrol to cancer risks. Researchers observed liver tumors in rats exposed to high doses. Based on these findings, the agency prohibited its use in foods and drinks to protect public health. Manufacturers faced a swift need to adapt. They turned to artificial substitutes or processed extracts that removed Saffrol. This change aimed to maintain safety while preserving familiar flavors. Some fans argue this altered the authentic essence of root beer. Others value the uniformity and reduced hazards in today's products. Craft makers now often seek ways to echo the old style without the ban component. Adding to the intrigue, rumors persist about additional motives behind the controls. Saffrol later drew attention as a starting material in making MDMA, a substance tied to recreational drugs. By the 1970s and beyond, authorities tightened regulations on Saffrol due to its role in illicit production. This fueled speculation that drug concerns influenced the original 1960 decision. However, records show the ban stemmed primarily from the carcinogen evidence. The drug precursor issue emerged afterward, leading to stricter monitoring by agencies like the Drug Enforcement Administration. These layers highlight how a single ingredient sparked ongoing debates in the beverage world. To grasp how root beer transformed over time, consider the key factors that drove its evolution. This breakdown highlights 6 main reasons behind its journey from a humble brew to a commercial staple. Each step builds on the last, showing shifts in production, perception, and market dynamics. First, the fermentation history played a central role in earning the beer label. Early versions underwent a light fermentation process that produced bubbles and a small amount of alcohol. This mirrored methods used for other drinks like ginger beer or birch beer. The effervescence gave it a lively quality similar to traditional Alesh. Even with low intoxication levels, the brewing technique justified the name. As production scaled up, makers dropped fermentation for stability, yet the term stuck as a nod to its roots. Second, marketing tactics added a layer of sophistication to attract broader audiences. Producers position root beer as a mature option, even for families. The word beer implied something substantial and appealing to adults, without the risks of stronger drinks. This approach worked well during times of social change, drawing in those who wanted a refined alternative to plain water or tea. It turned a simple soda into a symbol of everyday indulgence. Third, innovations from figures like Charles Hyères reshaped the product into a non-alcoholic favorite. In the 1870s, this Philadelphia pharmacist created a powdered mix from herbs and roots. Combined with water and sugar, it yielded a tasty infusion. He soon bottled it for wider sale, branding it as Hyères root beer. This version contained no alcohol, focusing on flavor and health benefits. His strategy targeted working-class men, many familiar with beer taverns. By using the beer name, he tapped into their habits while offering a wholesome choice. This move boosted popularity amid growing temperance sentiments. Delving deeper into Hyères' story uncovers a notable conflict. In the late 1800s, the Women's Christian Temperance Union raised concerns over possible alcohol traces in his drink. They pushed for a nationwide ban without initial testing. Hyères responded by hiring a University of Pennsylvania chemist for analysis. The results showed only minimal traces, far below intoxicating levels. This defense helped clear his product and reinforced its safe image. The episode highlighted tensions between innovation and moral campaigns of the era. It also showed how scientific proof could counter public doubts. Fourth, the commercial rise accelerated with bottling advancements and cultural boosts. By the late 19th century, factories streamlined production for mass distribution. Soda fountains across America featured root beer as a standard item. The Prohibition era in the 1920s gave it a major lift. With alcohol outlawed, non-intoxicating options like root beer gained celebration. It filled a gap for social gatherings, becoming a fixture at events and homes. This period solidified its place in national culture. Fifth, brand variations emerged, sparking rivalries that defined the market. Companies like A&W, Barq's, and Mug entered with unique twists. Some leaned creamier, others bolder in spice, but all shared a sweet herbal base. These differences fueled competition, especially in the 1990s when shelf space battles intensified. Major players vied for dominance through ads and promotions. Exploring these rivalries reveals internal struggles. A&W faced a class action lawsuit in recent years over claims of misleading labels. Consumers argued the made with aged vanilla phrasing implied natural sources, when artificial flavors dominated. The case settled for $15 million, highlighting scrutiny on ingredient transparency. Meanwhile, acquisitions by giants like Coca-Cola and Pepsi influenced outcomes. Haier's brand changed hands multiple times, from Crush International in 1962 to Procter & Gamble in 1980, then Cadbury Schweppes in 1989. By 2008, Dr. Pepper Snapple Group took over and prioritized A&W, leading to Haier's gradual fade from stores. In Canada, Pepsi replaced it with Mug in vending machines. These corporate moves consolidated power but diminished some older names. Sixth, regulatory changes and global perceptions altered recipes and reception. Health rules forced adaptations, like removing certain compound for safety. Beyond borders, root beer remains a North American quirk. In Europe and Asia, many find its taste odd, often comparing it to toothpaste or syrup for coughs. A closer look at these views ties to chemistry and culture. The wintergreen note comes from methyl salicylate, a compound that mimics mini freshness. In high doses, it acts as a toxin, potentially harmful if overconsumed. This links to why some see it as medicinal rather than fun. Without a history like Prohibition, other regions lack familiarity with such flavors and sweets. Expatriates and craft trends slowly build interest, but the divide persists. These reasons illustrate root beer's adaptive path. From health origins to market forces, each factor contributed to its current form. This evolution keeps it relevant, even as tastes shift worldwide. In today's market, root beer continues to evolve with a mix of traditional appeal and modern twists. Large-scale producers favor artificial flavors to ensure uniform taste and shelf stability. This approach replicates the classic notes of vanilla, wintergreen, and spices without relying on natural roots that once posed health concerns. On the other hand, craft versions emphasize genuine ingredients. Brewers often use safe roll-free sassafras extracts, real herbs, and organic sweeteners to capture an old-fashioned depth. These small batch options highlight natural profiles, drawing fans who seek premium quality and nostalgia. The rise of craft root beer reflects broader trends in specialty drinks, where consumers value innovation alongside heritage. Market growth supports this shift, with projections showing steady expansion driven by demand for unique non-alcoholic beverages. Alongside these, alcoholic variants add a playful element. Known as hard root beer, these drinks blend the familiar soda flavor with beer-level alcohol content, typically around 5 to 6%. Products like Not Your Father's Root Beer stand out as examples, offering a boozy take on the childhood favorite. They remain novelties rather than everyday staples, appealing to those exploring craft beer trends. While not dominating supermarket shelves, they contribute to the beverage scene by mixing nostalgia with adult indulgence. Recent industry insights note a push towards such flavorful experiments, though some observers see a potential slowdown in extreme novelties as tastes mature. Reflecting on its place in culture, root beer stands as an enduring symbol of American creativity. It bridges eras from indigenous herbal practices to colonial adaptations and commercial booms. Through marketing savvy and regulatory hurdles, it has become more than a drink. It represents resilience in tradition, turning simple botanicals into a shared experience at gatherings and diners. This legacy underscores how everyday items can embody broader stories of innovation and community. In summary, root beer maintains its spark of mystery and delight. Whether you prefer the classic fizz or a crafted variation, it invites discovery of its layered past. Consider sampling different styles to appreciate the nuances. Ultimately, beverages like this remind us that even the most ordinary sip can reveal profound narratives woven through time.